In a world filled with filters and facades, The Real Life with Lacey is your sanctuary of authenticity. Join me as we unravel true stories that resonate with the human experience. And remember, our ultimate goal is to touch the heart of at least one viewer in every episode. This is where the power of real life takes center stage, and the impact is real. Welcome to a journey of inspiration and connection. Welcome back to the Real Life with Lacey podcast. Today we have a new guest. His name is John.
Hello.
Welcome, John.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited about this meetup tonight because we're going to talk about a whole bunch of subjects that we have not even touched so far.
Awesome.
In the 3 episodes that we've had.
That's awesome.
So let's start from the beginning. You were adopted.
Yes.
Okay.
I was adopted in Moscow, Russia, and was adopted by an American family. They were, they stayed in California in the U.S., and I was adopted in 2003, so I was a couple years still into the, orphanage and whatnot.
Okay, so hold up. How old were you when you were adopted?
I was, I believe, two-ish, three-ish, around that sort of time frame.
Okay.
Born in 2001, there's no specific time because there was no proper record of my birth parents at all. It was more of just kind of like a drop and go, I guess. So
really?
So the hospital kind of took me over when I was very young and gave me to an orphanage nearby, still in Moscow, and just kind of stayed there for a couple years. And then my parents now adopted me, and so I just kind of.
How did your parents find you?
I never really asked that question. I don't know why. So from the story that I understand, my mom wasn't able to give birth. She just had a condition where she was just not able to do that at all. So they wanted to seek for adoption. I don't know why Russia. It's such a kind of out of the ballpark kind of idea, but I'm grateful that they did.
Yeah.
And got me out of Russia and whatnot. But,
so did they fly over to Russia and
so,
choose you out of a lineup sort of thing?
So
or
it was super weird because I have vague memories about it. Of course, I was so young, I don't even remember anything. But they came over, they went to the adoption agency. I guess from what they told me, I was in a crib of 6 other kids, and I ran up to them first.
Aww.
And I was just like, hey, I want you, like, what's up?
Aww,
Adopt me, and sort of thing. So they picked me, and they were with another Russian couple who also adopted with them as well. So they adopted their kid that I'm not in contact with them. I don't know anything really much about them, but I know that my parents were very close with them, so they both adopted kids together.
Okay, so that couple was from Russia?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's where the tie... okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were about 2 years old when they brought you to America, and you lived in California?
Yeah, for most of my life. Antioch, for the most part. And moved around a little bit around the Antioch area, but mainly in there, yeah.
Now, did they tell you you were adopted at a certain age, or...
It was more, yes. So yes, they did tell me, and
how old were you?
I was probably like 5 or 6.
Really? So you were young.
Yeah, I was still pretty young, and I didn't know what that meant. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
You're not my dad? What are you talking about? But it was brought up in a way that was very reassuring. It was very much like, listen, we're not your real parents, but we still love you, and we chose you, and we decided to want to take on. Another piece of the family, yeah, of course. So I thought that was very sweet. So.
Was it hurtful to think that they weren't your biological parents?
No, but I created like a little story about it. It was very much like my parents were spies or something, and they just couldn't take care of a kid, so they were just like, here you go.
Which very well could be true.
Yeah, very very well could be true. So I just created a little story, and then the time being with my parents, my adopted parents. They really showed me how much they loved me, and it became abundantly clear that listen, this is probably the best choice to be here than over there.
Mm-hmm. So you never felt bitter or upset that your biological parents gave you up? No. That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel the need of wanting to find who they were, to see what they look like? Or
yes and no, a little curiosity just to see what my genetics came from, but never in a sense to be why'd you leave? What's going on? Never really like that. It's always in the back of my mind, but it's never really kind of actively searching for it or anything.
Have you done the ancestry?
I did 23andMe, and there's nothing. It just says birth of origin is 99.8% Russian. I'm pure Russian.
They were definitely spies.
Yeah.
They don't want to go in the system.
No.
Well, hey, that works. Yeah. And did you have siblings?
Not biological, but I did have another sibling that my parents also adopted, but in Oshkaola, which is a different part of Russia. and not biological, but you know, we both have that kind of Russian bond, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, so she's full Russian also.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the age difference between you two?
We're 3 years apart right now.
Was she the younger or older?
Younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you still get along with her?
Oh yeah, love her to death. Yeah, she's family. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so then you lived in Antioch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What brought you here?
So my dad was heavily involved in the stock market and real estate and whatnot. So he would, you know, flip houses and do stocks and whatnot. And it just became a time where he just couldn't do it anymore. And he decided that, okay, we need to leave. And he liked the idea of having a farm and cattle and stuff like that. But we didn't get that. We moved to trailer home, mobile home park-ish area.
Up here?
And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was fun. Like it's new. I'm used to, you know, like middle, like economic. Like I grew up in a 2-story house. You know, just kind of like I had a pool, I had a trampoline. You know,
you probably had some money in it.
Yeah, we were very spoiled as kids, but we were also humbled. Like my parents never made us too. I don't know the word. Privileged or whatever, you know, what have you. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, moving out here and just grew up and went to, you know, the local school and, you know, graduated in 19 and just, you know, just kind of finished the rest of my growing up to do out here, really. So
it was a change though. Like, how old were you when you moved up here? Junior high or
I moved out here halfway through sophomore year.
Oh,
so,
man.
Yeah. So I was still teenager, angsty.
That's kind of rough. Like you grew up with friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you come up here and like have to make all new friends.
Yeah.
And you're the new guy coming in,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm sure some of them were dicks.
Yeah. Well, not really. Well, I came into it thinking, because I used to get bullied. That's why we kind of also moved as well. There's a lot of factors involved, but one of the factors was I was getting bullied down in the Bay. So my family just thought it would be better to move up here.
Oh, nice.
And but no, moving up here, everyone was super sweet, super nice. You know, the occasional bully, but I didn't put up with none of that really, and it was, you know, pretty tame. But
yeah. Did you play sports?
At the school, at my old school, yes, I used to play baseball, football, basketball. I was definitely a sports addict, really. I was a backup quarterback, also a wide receiver in football. I was a catcher. That's why I have such big legs.
Huge calves.
So I used to be a catcher, and basketball did that a little bit too. So
okay. When you came up here, did you continue to play sports?
No, I just decided to just start something fresh and new, and then I was really much into the arts, like dance, acting, and all that sort of thing. So I found theater to be kind of like a cool little substitute, and did that, and had a good time with it.
Yeah. So when was it that you knew you were gay?
Oh.
Let's dive in.
Yes. So I would say end of freshman year. So it was
that
weird.
late.
Yeah. So it was like end of freshman year, beginning of sophomore year. The transition from the Bay to more of a countryside kind of really, like, you know, sparked something. Back in my old high school, you know, football. There's a lot of, you know, ass grab, you know, play and stuff like that. So I really was just kind of
Was there a lot
unsure.
of gay people?
Not really open. It was during a time where everyone was closeted. No one was really active in the gay scene, especially at that school, just because of, you know, maybe possible bullying or something like that. So it wasn't really prevalent.
Times have changed.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, football, grab ass and stuff like that. I started, you know, just, you know, thinking about that. Never really thought anything gross about it. But I didn't, you know, it was kind of like a neutral feeling. It was like, I don't feel disgusted about, you know, men or anything like that or anything. You know, I just didn't know, like,
So you started, so freshman-ish year, you just started thinking, like, maybe I was attracted to the same sex.
Yeah, it was, like, in the back of my mind, but it wasn't really, like, something I wanted to focus on either.
Yeah, but you're still attracted to women as well.
Yes, I'm attracted to both. Anything,
Okay, so, and then when was it that you actually came out to your parents then?
Oh,
or have you?
Sophomore
you
year.
Have? Okay.
Yeah, sophomore year. Towards the end of it, it was so funny. We moved-ish, so we didn't live where we used to live now, and I don't know if I can say where.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
So we used to live in Sutter Creek for a short time while we were moving from the Bay out here, just as a temporary thing. And we lived in a nice little cabin. It was cute. And, me just texting some guys, just like, a little flirting, but not really like super flirtatious. But I think my dad picked my phone up one day and was like, who's baby? And I was just like, I had to make up like a lie on the spot. It was so embarrassing. And I was just like, oh, he calls everyone baby. Like, he's from my school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Was it someone from up here?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I was just like, nothing. Yeah, I'm just a friend. So, but yeah, so that was one scare. And then we moved to Ione in, the little trailer home park. And I forgot how it went. So I think I went to school one day. I had English class. And I was like, I might be gay. I don't know. And I was really conflicted on what my sexuality was and what I wanted to express and whatnot. And so I called my cousin up and I was like, yo, I feel these feelings. I want to tell my parents, but I don't know about it.
Why'd you choose your cousin?
He was the most viable option in terms of like expressing myself emotionally, because I was definitely not an emotional available kid at all. So I called him up and I was like, hey, I have these feelings. What should I do? And he was just like, well, I first of all appreciate you telling me these things. Like, I'm glad that you feel like you can tell me these things.
Was he like older than you?
Yeah, he's older. He's now with kids of his own and stuff. So he's very like, I can see him as like a dad already. He was like super nice.
Yeah.
So, talked to him and he was just like, well, if you have these feelings, given your parents, strict background, I wouldn't tell them right away.
Strict? Were they religious?
Yeah, my dad is heavily Christian. My mom, I'm not so sure. She was raised Catholic, so it was very much a religious household.
And in those aspects, it's a sin.
Yeah. It was very heavily thought down upon, and the whole burn in hell. So it was very bumpy. And so I talked to my cousin. My cousin was like, you know what, just keep this to yourself for now. And me being angsty, I'm just like, I don't, like, sure, of course I'll keep it to myself, but I'm, a teenager. And he's like, well, thank you for telling me. Are you sure you feel these ways? Like, why do you think this? And I was just like, well, I just have like, romantic feelings for this guy. I don't know who it was at the time, but I was just like, this boy's cute. I think he's cute. I don't know why. What's going on? And he was like, well, those feelings are totally okay. They're valid. You're being heard. My advice to you, obviously given your parents' background, don't tell them yet. Me being dumb, obviously I didn't listen.
You're like, I'm going all in.
Yeah, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
And so I was like, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And on that exact day, on my ride home from school, there was a lot of different things going on. My English teacher got arrested for, drinking in the classroom, and there was a whole scandal about that. And I was just,
were you in the class?
I was.
Was he drunk or she or?
He was under the influence. Yes. There was allegations of like just throwing objects at students. I disagreed with it. I didn't see any of that. He was just really upset and he like threw stuff up the desk, but it was he was drunk and he was mad. So principal, police came and they handled the situation.
That's interesting.
It was just so wild. Everything happened in the same day. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So
none of the objects hit a person, so he's fine.
Yeah. So everything happened all at once, and then during that same day, my mom picks me up from school. We're driving back. She asks the usual, like, "How's your day? How's it going?" I was like, "No, good. I do school."
It was a big day.
It was a big day today.
Yeah.
Some stuff happened, so I said it exactly verbatim. I was like, homework was well. I got an A on my test. My English teacher got arrested. I'm bisexual. I also got I want to do basketball, but I want to do theater, and she like stops me, and she was just like, "Whoa, back up!" Like, what did you just say? And she like stops the car. It's like so dramatic, right? But she's like driving and she like pulls this and she's like, "What'd you say?" And
at least she cares enough to want to know.
Right.
Some parents would be like, "Oh fuck,
like,
talk to your dad."
Shit, for real.
I don't want to deal with it.
So she was just like, "What would you say?" And I was like, "Oh, I passed my test." And she was like, No. What did you say?" And I was like, "Well, my English teacher got arrested." And she was like, No, not that either. And I was like, "That's not what you want to talk about?" Okay. I'm bisexual. And she's like, "Okay, this is what we got to do. Like, you can't tell your father at all." And I was just like, fuck, okay, cool, all right.
No, so everyone's afraid to tell dad.
Yeah, me and my...
Was he very strict?
Very strict. He made it very abundantly clear that he doesn't accept it, doesn't approve of it, and doesn't want to support anything of that sort at all. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. My mom, I felt more like I can tell her, obviously, than my dad. So I obviously was just like, oh, this is something I can slip in. And so she broke it down with me. She was like, well, why do you feel this way? And I was just like, I don't know, I just have feelings for some guys. I don't think they're ugly, but I think some are cute. I'm just conflicted with these feelings.
But at this point, you had never touched a male, right?
No, okay. Not at all. And so she was just like, okay, so this is what we gotta do. We can't tell your father, don't mention it, just keep it on DL between us. And I was just like, okay. And she's like, does anyone else know? And I was like, Chris. And that's my cousin. And she's like, okay, cool. He can be trusted, right? And I was like, oh, cool. Okay, cool. So I go home. I'm kind of disappointed. It sucks because I didn't feel accepted. It was just kind of like a shut up, don't talk about it sort of thing.
Yeah.
Very like on the DL.
Like, was there an idea of when you would be able to talk about it? Or just hold it in forever?
My idea was as soon as I'm out of the house, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm gay, bye.
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah.
But, so we go home, and then, a couple weeks by, I go to school. I'm telling my theater friends, because I'm in theater. I'm like, hey, I told my mom, but she's like, shut up, don't talk to your father about it.
And are they accepting?
Oh, yeah, super accepting. They're like,
are they bisexual, too?
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's very popular in the gay community to, be in theater or dance or part of the arts and whatnot, and that's, like, not the only thing, but, it's prevalent, and so I talked to them about it, and they were just like, well, like, they talked to me more about it. Well, what do you feel like, do you feel sexually attracted to them? Like, what do you, like, break it down for me and whatnot? And I was just like, yeah, like, I could kiss a guy, like, And
but at this point, you hadn't yet.
No, not at all.
And are you so, like, I want to try to see?
I do, yeah. So later that day, after talking to my theater, colleagues and whatnot, I go home, and there was another gay guy in the community, the mobile home park community, that I was aware of, but we didn't ever talk.
Like your age?
Yes, my exact age at the time was...
You're like a junior? Or
I was a sophomore still. Yeah, everything happened all in sophomore year. It was so weird. Mm-hmm. And so I meet up with... Well, I find him on Snapchat one day, and I send him a message. I'm like, hey, I have a question. Me being a curious gay guy, I'm just like, how does this work? So I'm asking him a bunch of, like, gay questions, like, what's it like kissing a guy? Like, nothing sexual, just...
And he's definitely out. Like, it wasn't just a rumor that he was.
No, he's a gay dude.
Okay.
And, I felt like I can get a lot of information from him.
Were you attracted to him?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
Just
using him for a knowledge.
Just like knowledge, and I just wanted to educate myself more on it and see if these feelings were worth looking into, and obviously today, duh. Yeah. But I talked to him a little bit more, asked him more questions, like, does this mean I'm gay? Like, I have this romantic, feelings for this guy. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. And he talked me through it, and he was like, well, I mean, if you need to figure out if you're gay or not, just kiss me. I was just like...
I thought that you would do that.
Yeah.
And you're like, but you're not hot.
Well, no, I was like, I mean, sure, I guess. It was just like I just want to see. Like, no one has to know. It was just like, hey, let's go. We had a park. We went to the park or something. Yeah. And he's never met my parents. So I was just like, hey, I'm going to go to the park real quick. And they're like, all right, bye.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
Yeah. Mom's looking at you all shady. Dad's like, bye, son.
Bye, have a good time. Yeah.
Mom's like, what are you doing?
Like, what are you doing? So I go down to the park, and I meet up with them, and this is, I think, the second time we actually hung out. The first time it was just kind of like, what was it? We went to opposite schools, but we lived in the same neighborhood. So I've seen them, like, around the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And we, like, hang up with, like, a group of friends one day, so I'm, well aware of him. And so we go down to the park together, and we, like, go on the swings and stuff, and I was just, like, asking him, like, questions, like, when did you have your first kiss? Like, when did you know you were gay? Like, is this... Like, how do I know this is, like, a for sure thing? I don't want to label myself because I don't like labels, but I want to figure out if I have these attractions or if it's just, like, a figuring it out stage, right? So he's just like, okay, well, let me walk you home and we can figure it out. And I was like, okay, cool. So we walk home, and he's like, you want to know a way to figure it out? And I was like, do I have to kiss you? And he's just like, do you want to kiss me? And I was like, yeah, to figure it out. Let's do it. And I was very much a I don't give a fuck kind of teen.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just see if there's anything.
But even with you not being attracted to him, I mean, like...
Yeah, I would think at least by the thought of kissing another guy that I would feel some sort of disgust or, like, sort of, like, I don't want to, I don't feel the need, I don't want to, but I was like, I'm curious. Like, does it... Obviously, me being a kid, like, does it feel different? Like, does it, like, taste different? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So we go back home, and we're, like, right in front of my house. Horrible mistake.
Oh, and your dad didn't see?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Luckily. But my mom did. So he takes me up to the front door, and he's like, well, have a good night. And then he's, like, waiting, and I'm just like, okay, bye. I'm like, oh, shit, I gotta kiss you. And he's like... And so I lean him with a kiss, and I kiss him. Nothing. No emotions, no nothing. I was just like, cool. bye. And we leave. And I just go back in. I text him. I'm like, I didn't feel anything. Does this mean I'm not gay? Like, I don't know what it means. And my mom walks in as I'm texting him, and he's like, who's the boy you're hanging out with, you know? And she starts to dig, and I was just like, well, I'm trying to figure out if, like, this is real, and, like, da.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, well, tell me everything. What did you feel? And I was just like, nothing. And she's like, thank goodness, right? No. And I'm just like, I don't know, because I didn't feel anything, but I feel like there could be something. I just, maybe it's the person, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Like, obviously I'm heterosexual, but if it's not a hot dude, I'm not going to feel shit.
For real.
You know what I'm
maybe
saying?
it, depending on the person, and that's when my brain starts racing. But, I don't think it's the end of the world, because I like girls too. So I'm just like, it's not like, I need to know if I like guys, because I like girls too. So she was just kind of like reassuring me, like, okay, thank God, okay, cool. Well, there's still, girls at your school, right? And so I was like, yeah, cool. And so...
when was it that you actually knew that...
I think...
Which, someone local, you obviously don't have to say their name.
No. So he's my best friend, and we were in dance class together. And
so your roommate?
Yeah. My roommate, yeah. And our first interactions was in dance class. We would do like a little like flirtatious like hip thing. I didn't think it was flirtatious. He thought he was. So I was just like.
And was he out at this point?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm feeling a kind of way towards you. Like, I think you're cool. I like to hang out with you and see if we can like, get to know each other more and stuff. So we would flirt back and forth, and I would do my little riz. I used to do magic tricks, so that's how I get
That's how you got the men?
Yep.
Magic tricks.
Always. Yeah. And on the bus, I think we were on the bus, we were doing magic tricks, and we were on the very back of the bus, and he's like, oh, like, this is really cute, like, I like this. And I was just like, yeah, I like you too. Never kissed, never done anything like that. Or I kissed that one guy, but I never felt anything. So I was very curious, and I forgot. So we then started, because I liked him, he liked me. And so we decided we were just going to date and be boyfriends. Like.
And you guys were open boyfriends at school?
Yes.
Was there any harassment or negativity?
I felt like it was more of like we were in a relationship and everyone knew in the theater, but like outside of school, if they see us hanging around, they're like, oh, okay, like they're gay, obviously. Yeah. And so it was very abundant for the school, like, okay, I had a boyfriend, and everyone kind of like knew from there on, and I was just like, okay, cool, like I don't care, no one said anything, no one's ever like treated me differently or anything like that, and it was very like accepting. It was nice.
Which is really nice.
It's very
because
nice.
Back when I went to school, it wasn't accepted. And like people were not accepting at all.
Yeah.
I mean, things have definitely changed.
Oh yeah.
Which is very beneficial for you guys. But I'm just saying, like, you guys are lucky that you're living nowadays.
Yeah, and I feel super grateful about that too.
For
Because
sure.
I cannot imagine just holding it. You know what I mean? And I can't. I'm very need to know, like, if I want to be happy with another man, like I should be happy with another man.
And it kills them inside to keep it hidden from everyone, and they feel like they're literally in a closet, hiding who they really are. So, but yeah, luckily in your day and age, you're 22.
It was, very nice. And so the situation between my roommate was me and him knew, obviously. His parents knew, because his parents were very obviously accepting. And only my mom knew. She wasn't very much approving of it. She was just like, don't get caught by my dad.
By your father.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll try. We'll see. And so me and Matt, I'll say his name, Matt.
Yeah.
Whatever. We were dating we were on and off, I think a total of 2 years. Like, a total, like, on for a year and then off.
So you're figuring it out at this point. You're figuring it all out.
All out, seeing it. And then early in the relationship, it was very much like, we haven't kissed. Like, it was been like a couple months and we haven't even done any, kissing or anything.
So you're kind of like
that.
just friends.
Yeah, we're just kind of like, I like you. You're cool. Like, cool. And I remember he wanted to kiss me. And I was like, I'll kiss you. Yeah, let me see if I feel anything. And we were, I leaned for a kiss, and we kissed. And I was like, wow, I actually feel something. This is nice. I really like it. And so from that day on, we just, I'm going to class. Oh, bye. Bi, like super casual, super nice. Never got into really making out till like a couple months into our relationship, and it was nice. It was very nice. It made me feel loved. It like it was very nice. Like I don't know how else to describe it. It was like a nice relationship. It didn't. Comparing it to relationships with girls, it just felt the same, normal, not really too complicated. If anything, like less complicated, I guess.
Did you miss boobs?
I'm not a boob guy, so there was nothing to miss, really.
Yeah, you must be an ass guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One on all of them.
So, but yeah, just started dating, and then, when did okay, so I lost my virginity to a girl first. That was the first person I've ever lost my virginity to.
Before sophomore year?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So right when I came in, well, actually at the beginning of sophomore year, I was talking to a girl, and the funny situation was my mom knew I was gay, my dad knew I was straight, obviously. Her parents thought she was lesbian, but we would hang out. So it was like very much they won't do anything. They can do whatever, and obviously like that was when I lost my virginity, and
and you both are like,
yeah. It was very much like
we're testing
good
the waters.
One. Yeah. Have a nice day. And then leading on from that, and so and then it was very scary at first to lose my virginity to a guy, because I didn't know how it worked. That's where I never really wanted to like talk about or really go dive deep into, because I was like, how does that work? What? This is weird. I don't know. And slowly figuring it out and doing research, obviously. Like, okay, how do I prepare, make sure no accidents happen, obviously, right? Yeah. And at that moment, I didn't know there was two options. You can be a top or a bottom. I was just like, oh, I'm a bottom. Let me just be a bottom. Why not?
That's what you just assumed you were.
I just assumed, like, okay, I have to be a bottom because, Matt appears to be, like, more masculine. So I assumed, like, okay, the masculine one is the top, and then the feminine-ish one is the bottom.
Which I've learned is not
that is not true.
The case.
Not the case at all. So learning about that, I was just like, oh, cool. So I have all this knowledge about, being a bottom and how to prepare and make sure that accidents don't happen. And then going into, it in the first time, it was nice. Like, it was like, obviously it was a new territory, a lot of like, stop, don't do anything. But it was nice. It was, just felt nice. It was just casual. It didn't hurt at all, which was very surprising for me.
That's surprising to me as well.
And it was very relaxed. It was very casual. I felt a sense of like, I felt protected because I did feel like there's a sense of vulnerability. Obviously, if someone's entering through the back door, there's a sense of vulnerability, and like you have to be really open with that person in order to just, fuck you, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, I felt that. It was very nice. It was very calming, very reassuring. There's a lot of aftercare afterwards, and it just like felt nice. It was just like, cool, that happened. I like this.
Yeah.
Let's keep doing this. This is awesome.
And did you trade off?
No, he was very much a strict top. Oh. So I was just like, that's fine. I like being a bottom. It's nice. Like, I don't mind switching it up from time to time. But it was very nice.
All right, and then you guys lasted for a couple of years.
Yeah, so we lasted for a first about a year, and we broke it off because I just didn't think that we were fitting emotionally. We both had different emotional needs, and
you're still young.
Yeah, we're just young, figuring each other out, and
figuring yourself out.
Yeah, I didn't think that I would see myself being with this person for a long time. Obviously, we're in high school. I didn't think anything would last for X amount of time.
Yeah.
Then,
did your dad find out?
Surprisingly, no. He knew about Matt. From what my mother told him, he's just my friend, but he knows he's gay, so he would come over
so
and
he's assuming.
Yeah. So he's having these thoughts, but I don't think he really understands. He's just like, I don't like my son hanging out with that guy. So Matt was never allowed over my house, which understandably, I don't want him over either. Dad's kind of an asshole, but it is what it is. And the day he found out was what happened? I think he just assumed and then came to a conclusion himself. Oh. He kind of just like, hey, you're hanging out with this guy a lot. Who is he? And I was just like, just a friend. And he's just like, don't lie to me. Just don't lie to me anymore. And I was just like, fuck. And so I go to my room and I'm like, fuck, he knows. And my mom comes in and, she's talking to me and she's like, okay, don't be mad. I told him.
Oh.
And I was just like, why? You literally told me not to tell him because of the exact reason why he, was, doing his whole like, Arr. And she was like, don't be mad, like, please. And I was just like, okay. Like, I'm pissed. Like, like, a little, like, my dad shouldn't have known. Like, this should have been between us. There's lack of communication and da-da-da. So that same night, he, like, pulls me outside and we're in the car. We're just, like, talking in the car. And he was just like, listen, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I don't want it brought up around me. If there's any... He was talking about if there's any sex toys or if there's anything resemblance of a gay thing in my house, you will be out of this house. Like, I have zero tolerance. Like, no. And I was just like, okay, just taking it in the ear. I'm just like, fuck, this is horrible. And he was very much like, no son of mine is going to be gay. Like, why don't you, talk to other girls, like, and he, in his brain, it's, you like girls, you're straight, you like guys, you're gay. He doesn't believe in the in-between of liking both, because I definitely tried to be like, I like girls too, like, this isn't just like a guy thing, like, I like girls too, like, please, I hope you'll understand. And he was just like, no, that doesn't make sense to me, like, just cut it off, don't say or do anything. And I was like, okay, cool. And from that day forward, it was a lot of, like, father disconnect. He did his own thing, I did my own thing, me and my mom would talk, he would...
Did it alter your relationship?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It was very much, it used to be very like a father-son relationship where, he was actively helping me with like baseball or football or, basketball. We would always play sports together and it was just completely cut off.
Oh, that's sad.
So that sense of like that dad figure, it just definitely just cut off. And it hurt.
Yeah.
It definitely hurt.
So he was ultimately disappointed.
Yeah.
Upset.
Very,
and just wanted to kind of cut off ties.
Yeah.
And how was the relationship now?
Good. He's trying to reconnect. As little as possible. He's never really eager to invite me to things, but if my sister's ever in town from like college or whatever, she'll be like, hey, we're going to the parents' house, you should come by. And my first ever interaction with them, because, funny story, I was kicked out at 18, for a funny ass story. It was so funny. The way I got kicked out at 18 was,
Not because you're gay?
No. So he was just like, I don't care if you live here, but, you need to have a job, you need to pay rent, that sort of thing. And I was just like, okay, yeah, sure, cool. And I had my own car and everything like that. And so, what did he... I think I was talking to my mom about, I think Matt at the time. I think we broke up. I'm not so 100% sure, but I was talking to my mom about boys, and he just kind of got pissed off. And on me being an angsty teen, I was like, I need to get my revenge. And I was like, okay. So I go on Amazon and I look up this like little dildo, and I was just like, I'm gonna get it for myself. Just like not for just to like disapprove of my father or not, but just like for me. I wanted a little thing because like I'm a bottom. I want to practice with that.
You wanted this to get delivered to your dad's house for him. Did you put his name on it?
No, I put my name on it, thankfully. But my parents being my parents, they open all the packages, regardless if it's me or my sister or whoever. So I knew he would open it.
Yeah.
And I came home one day, and the package was delivered. The box was open on the floor. Thing was stamped on the kitchen counter. And no one was home besides me and my dad. My mom was out. My sister, I think, was at school. And I come in. I'm like, fuck. I already know. I'm fucked. So I'm like, okay, I got home from work. And I go to my room, and I close the door. And I hear my name being shouted across like the entire house. Like, hey, Jonathan, get your ass over here. Okay, so I leave, and I'm like, yeah. He's like, what the fuck is this? And I was just like, I'm like, fuck, I'm getting heated, I'm getting angry. I'm like, what, fuck this guy. This, like, who are you to tell me what I fucking can't, like. So I'm just like, that's a dildo. Like, can't you see it? That is what it is. Yeah. And he was like very angry, bashing me. And then after him just like saying like, how I disapprove of this? Why did you bring this in my house? What the fuck? Like, like, all that shit. He's like,
did you say mom doesn't have a dildo, Dad?
And I should have. Oh my god. I was like, you probably have the same one in your closet. What do you mean? But he was just like, what do you plan on doing with it? And I was like, so heated. And I was like, I plan to shove it up my ass. And he's like, you have 30 seconds to get out of my house.
Oh, fuck.
And I had a little convertible. I packed up all my stuff and I went over to a friend's house and I was like, cool, this is cool. And obviously it's super dramatic. My mom comes home and she's like, what are you doing? What's going on? And I'm just like, yeah, Dad kicked me out. Like, you'll see when you get in there. You won't miss it. You won't miss it.
By the way, I want it back.
Give it to me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm taking it with me. And she was just like, no. And obviously my parents are like arguing, and they argued back and forth constantly. But was like, don't do this to your son. Like, your son loves you. The whole thing. And I was just like, you know what? I was so mentally prepared that I just didn't give a fuck anymore. I was like, okay, that's fine. I have a good friend base that I can go and stay with and figure my own shit out.
At this point, you're probably sick of living in a house that you aren't accepted in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And the only acceptance I really felt was a little bit from my mother and definitely from my sister. Because she was just like, yeah, just don't tell Dad.
Yeah.
And she just minded her own business. She was like, I'm not saying shit because I know, like, I'm not going to out you like that. That's fucked up. So I was like, yeah, I appreciate you.
So then you moved in with your friends?
Yeah, I moved in with my friends from 18 to 21, or 20, 18 to 20, so 2 years. Just couch surfing, me in my car, just hopping house to house, just kind of like, hey, do you have any, like, can I sleep on your bed? Eventually, I stayed in my car for a little bit.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it was, it is what it was. And working very hard at the place I work at now, and I had enough for an apartment. So I just held it and kept looking, and I couldn't see anything, and I just kind of lost hope. I was like, fuck, I gotta sleep in my car. That's crazy. It's stupid. And when my friends came to me and was like, hey, we have an apartment opening up, and you should apply for it. Like, I can talk to the apartment manager and we can get you set up and stuff. And I was like, hell yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Did all the information. She comes back, she's like, you didn't get in. And I was like, fuck. And she dangles the keys in front of me. And I was just like, oh my God. Oh, emotions just started pouring out. And I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like, being on my own and actually having a house, like, this is so fucking awesome. And so I move into my apartment. I have nothing, right? I have maybe a box in my car. And I'm just like, wow. And during that time, me and Matt are still friends, but we're not together. But he was definitely a good outlet to go to, because obviously he was there for when I was kicked out. He was definitely an emotional support person to go towards, but our romantic relationship just cut off from there after high school. We both, graduated.
That's cool.
And it was just, it was just like, I don't regret it because it was a learning opportunity, and it was, you're a close friend. Like, I don't want you out of my life. I'm not going to cut you off.
Yeah.
So, we were very, very close. He then, kept me company, stayed over the nights, and I was just like, wow, this is my own place. This is crazy. And, he's hyping me up. He's like, yeah, it's your own place. This is cool. And, having my own place and then working hard to, like, furnish it and get it the way I want it was just, like, so surreal. It felt like...
And fulfilling.
Yeah, so fulfilling. And it was, like, finally, like, I can, like, do my own thing and be accomplished. And so it was very, very nice.
Nice. And then how was dating life when you were on your own? Now there's apps.
Yes.
That's a lifesaver, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like Scruff and...
There's Scruff, there's Grindr, Bumble, Tinder, kind of, but they're more dating. They're not really kind of popular in my eyes, personally. I don't think they're very popular apps. But
Scruff and Grindr are more gay.
They're more gay oriented, very much more of a hookup scene, not more of like a relationship kind of scene.
Which a lot of... so I'm friends with a lot of gay people, and it seems though the male gay community is more of a hookup almost. Like they're kind of cool with it.
Yeah,
and
it's casual.
Yeah.
It's super nice. It's just, take your pants off.
Yeah. I find more females maybe are the ones that are fucking that up for you guys, like in the heterosexual relationships, that we want more of a commitment maybe. I don't know, because gay guys are just like, oh, fuck this guy, and then never talk to him again. And totally cool with it.
Yeah, I think that it's, at least speaking personal experience, like I can't speak for obviously a gay community, but for me it was more of just like an outlet to seek sexual desires, and it was just like, it's just a one-time thing. I'm not looking for anything specific. I'm very much like I want to meet you in person. Like I want to just stumble upon a coffee shop and like meet you and like just the romantic cheesy shit, and I like that more than being like, I met him over a hookup app.
But you do that, or no?
Not anymore.
Okay.
I used to. Not all the time, but occasionally. Like, I worked a lot, so there wasn't really any time. But when I did have time, I'd download it and be like, any cuties in the area and stuff. especially in this area. Obviously, there's limits and stuff. So obviously, seeking out towards more, like a trip. 45 minutes, maybe an hour sometimes. Yeah.
So my husband and I went to San Francisco, and we were driving in the Uber, and the Uber's like, "Are you here for Dory Alley?" Have you ever heard of this?
I've never heard of this.
And I was like, and we're like, "What's Dory Alley?" And he's like, "Oh, you gotta see it. It's tomorrow." And we're like, "What is it?" And he's like, he didn't give us any details. He's like, "You just gotta go to Dory Alley and go there first thing in the morning and just see for yourself." And we're like, fuck yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
So the next morning we went at like 11 o'clock, and there was like tickets to get in, there was a line to get in, and people were dressed very provocative, and there was more males than females, and we're like, what is going on? We walk through, and right when we walk in, there's a huge pin of furries. And I'm like, well, I've never even heard what a fucking furry was before. They were crawling around, barking, meowing, doing all these different.
Now here's a question: so I'm a furry, right?
Okay, so I would definitely like to touch that subject with you because I just found out about that tonight.
Yeah. But there's a disconnect between what a furry is, and then there's a thing also more prevalent in the gay community and the BDSM community called a pup or a pup play or whatever, which is basically like leather hoods that they put over their face, and it resembles a dog mask or a dog hood is what they call it. And there's leashes, and then there's harnesses, and there's a lot of gear that goes involved. So I was wondering, was it more of the fluffy kind of like fluffy kind of mascot-esque animals, or was there more leather-based?
There was both.
Oh, both.
In a pen, and like some of them were being walked.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, and like bottoms weren't even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'm just like, what is going on right now? It was insane. And then you walk down the road, and another guy's completely naked getting whipped with leathers. This chick took a taser to this guy's dick. I'm like,
oh my goodness.
I'm in a third world country right now. Then there's a stage with a bunch of hot guys, all muscular and everything, doing some crazy shit to each other. And yeah, me and my husband were like, what the fuck is going on? But I met a couple there. It was two guys, and they were just beautiful couple, and they were so sweet. And we ended up going to the bar later that night with them and just talking about their relationship and everything. And they were exclusive. They were married. And then they ended up bringing, like, we kept in touch after that. They ended up bringing a third guy into the marriage, and he moved in with them. And they kept posting photos of how happy they were as that trifecta situation. And within a month or so after that, they broke up. And then the one guy that came in is now with one of the dudes. And so that's like always a scary factor, but I see it often. Like in the gay community a lot, they want to bring 3 into the relationship, and then
depends on the dynamic. Personally, speaking from experience, like just like my own personal needs and wants and whatnot, I'm very monogamous. I'm very much like I can only focus on one at a time. I'm very.
So you never want to have like 3? Okay.
Never. I can't do that. I feel like I want to give love to just one person. Like I just want to be able to just share like an intimate thing, and I don't think I could do that with multiple people.
And your jealousy also, like you don't want
a little bit more protective. I would say, learning about myself, I would say I'm more protective. I feel like jealousy is something that is something that someone else has that you want. And if I have a partner and I trust my partner, it's more I'm protective of what other people will do to my partner. That I'm like, okay, you can fuck off, or like just in case. But
yeah, bringing a third person into the party, I would think that there would be some sort of jealousy, like they have a connection or you have a connection, and I don't know.
I think it depends on the dynamic also as well. If it's good communication and all parties are happy, like, there's some relationships that work and some relationships that don't, there's a lot of open relationships, something that I personally can't do, that last years, and they're married and they're happy. There's a lot of, trifecta relationships that, if that works, that works. But, it comes down to respect and communication. And if one of those things doesn't work, then obviously there's going to be issues.
I agree. And that goes for even twosome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. Okay, so go back to the furry.
Okay.
Are they a different kind of animals?
So basically what I like to explain a furry is someone that has an interest in anthropomorphic animals, just like thinks they're cool. Like example, Zootopia. You know, it's a like a animal-esque.
The child movie?
Kind of, yeah, in a
Zootopia?
sense. Like, or anything that is like an animal with human-like characteristics. That's what I like to say. So like.
Like what, for example?
For like, what is a popular? Is it? Oh, I'm trying to think. Well, my favorite movie of all time, Lion King,
Okay.
is like imagining like Simba as like a person.
Okay.
I think if Simba was a person, that would be hot. Like he would be like jacked. I can envision him as like he's like super ripped, and just like that appeal. I think that's pretty cool.
I get that. Okay.
Yeah, and so in the community,
What community? The
furry community,
Okay.
you can kind of create your own what they call a fursona, which is basically you can choose an animal or species or whatever the fuck. You can be an iguana, you can be a zebra, giraffe, whatever the fuck. The most common are like wolves, foxes.
What are you?
Or, I'm a dog.
Okay.
Just a dog. Yeah. No specific breed, but like.
I was gonna say, are you pit bull?
No.
Yeah. Chihuahua.
just
like what?
Mutts, I guess is what they could call it. But
Mutt from Russia.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like something like on the creative spectrum, like just like I want to create this character. It's comparable to like an OC, someone that creates a separate character, either to for yourself. Like for example, like when servers are serving, you have a different personality. It's a different character that you put on for customers. Or in the furry fandom, like you want to be an animal, you have an animal persona. Or
Do you bark?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you wear fur?
No.
Do you wear a collar?
No.
Well, what makes you a dog?
I just find it interesting. So there's a lot of stigmas of like you have to dress up as an animal, or you have to be actively involved, which dressing up, wear a collar, bark.
Yeah. That's my stigma apparently. So
yeah, but you don't really. It's just really the definition is you find it pretty cool, and
I'm still confused. Then what do you do?
It's kind of like how I can compare it to anime conventions. Everyone kind of goes to one place to talk about and express their liking towards anime. Same thing in the furry fandom. Everybody who thinks anthropomorphic animals are pretty cool go to this one place. They talk about it and they buy like merchandise. There's like it's very heavily in the art community. There's a lot of drawings and just like cool little like art pieces and whatnot, and like different creative aspects. Like people make suits, fursuits, or some people just do the art, or just different things.
Is it a hookup sort of situation?
No, not at all. No, there's a lot of stigma behind being a furry as a sexual thing,
Yeah.
which I don't.
I 100% thought.
I disagree. I feel like it's more based off of the interest about the anthropomorphic animal, and then there's a disconnect from the sexual aspect. Although there is, like many other groups, there's a sexual aspect to everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very minute, small community that's kind of just not really the face of what a furry is, but obviously socially everyone's like, oh, they fucking costumes and da 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 da, and I'm just like, no, that's
not true.
No, it's not true at all.
Man, I totally thought it was true.
No.
Okay,
Not at all.
so you don't hook up with other dogs?
No.
Or
No,
a cat?
no.
Okay, alright, so that's a whole nother thing that
Yeah.
just totally mind-blowing myself.
Yeah.
And then, any other great stories in your whole community?
In the community, it's pretty tame. I mean, everyone just does what they love. They love the arts, so they they're really heavily involved in charities, so they contribute a lot. There's a lot of funny things about furries being super wealthy. Like there's a lot in government. Some are astronauts. A lot are in IT, so they're involved heavily in like a market where they make a lot of money, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah.
They make a lot of money, but it's just like an interest that everyone shares, and it's not really I don't know.
It's not really the sexual whole thing that I was
not at
thinking,
all.
for
It's
sure.
very rare, and when you do run into it, it's like, oh, you're part of like the very minute, very small group of people, and cool, good by you. You do your thing, and we'll do our thing, and
Yeah, for sure.
among anything.
Yeah. So any other aspects with like, have you ever hooked up with someone like a daddy sort of?
Yeah, so when I moved to New York for a year because I wanted to teach out there. I teach hip hop. And so,
you dance.
Yeah,
That's fun.
And so teaching hip hop is very much like a creative outlet for me. So I can, I like teaching. I like educating people on dance and hip hop specifically. And it was very much fun. And so that's what I went out to New York to do. And, on my off time working and, using Grindr and whatnot, going on hookups, there was a daddy in Manhattan. And it was very much a, should I not? I don't know. But I was just like, fuck it, whatever. I'm bored anyways. So I go down to Manhattan and he's just like, oh, just go down this street and I'm on the left. You'll see my apartment complex. Sorry, it's kind of dingy and da-da-da-da.
You're like, scary.
I'm like, don't tell me that. I knew. Don't do that. And I pull up to this fancy-ass apartment complex. And I was just like, what the fuck? And so I go up to the front. I'm like, hi, I'm here for a... Pulls up Grindr, right? I'm like, this person. And they're like, okay, yeah. And they call him. They're like, are you here to see this person? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, okay. So they walk me to the elevator.
So it was a nice-ass place.
It was a nice-ass place.
Okay.
I could tell the receptionist when I was like, hey, I'm here to meet this person. They're like, okay, sure. And, they show me to the elevator. They're like, oh, sure, yeah, we'll send him up, of course. So I go up to the elevator, go up to the very top, like not a penthouse, but like very much like very top. Gorgeous view, walk in. Apartment was gorgeous, very open. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Okay, This is weird. Because on his profile, it's like one picture and then a bio. So there's not really much to gather from what he does.
And was the picture a good-looking picture?
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, that's nice.
And he was older than you?
Yes. Yeah. At the time, like, I was 20, just turned 21. So, yeah, I was 21. He was about, like, 45, 46. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not too bad.
That's not too bad at all, no. But, like, that's probably the oldest I've ever hooked up with.
Okay.
And so I walked in. He's doing the cliche, like, he's opening a bottle of whiskey. Do you want a drink or whatever? He has, like, a cigar, and he's like, do you want anything? And I was just like, no, I'm good. Anxious. I'm just like, no, I'm just good. Can we just... Let's hurry this on, please.
So you're just going there to hook up?
Yeah, just going there to hook up. Very sweet, very welcoming. And, we hook up. And it was one of those hookups that I was very much like, cool, that's it?
Oh.
Yeah. And I've been with people that, I've been with big, small. Like, I don't judge, I don't discriminate against size. Like, if you can use it, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But it was one of those times where it's like, you can't really use it. It's very awkward.
Is he new to it or something?
No, it seemed like it's very funny because he seemed so confident that he was like, oh yeah, do this and do that. And I was like, okay, all right. Yeah, it's very like, sounded scripted, but like, it was just, it wasn't my thing at all. And finished up with him. He thought everything was great. He did the whole like, oh, how was it for you? And I was like, yeah, cool.
Fucking great.
Okay, yeah, cool. And then I leave.
You never want to say it's bad.
No, never. Like, oh, it's horrible. Leave because you might kill me.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, it's good. I'm gonna go. And then he was just like, ready for round 2. And I was like, yeah, it's getting late. I gotta dip out of here. And I was just like, okay, well, you have my number. And I exchanged numbers with him because I didn't know where the fuck I was going.
Yeah.
So I leave. He's like, I had a good time with you. Come back whenever. And it was just not it.
No.
It was, So
that was it? That was done with him?
It was not really, like, super crazy or anything. Yeah. It was just kind of like a, like, oh, hi, bye, sort of situation.
Yeah.
And during my whole New York thing, I definitely wanted to do some things out of the box. And since, like, I was a dancer, I was like, oh, I want to go to a gay club because I've never been to gay clubs at all. Mm-hmm. So I go to a bunch of clubs, and I went to a club called The Cock. And
interesting.
I walked in.
Did it have a rooster on it?
It did, actually, yes. And so I go in. There's like a nice little bar, and then there's like an ominous door to the left. And I go up to the bartender, and I'm like, hey, I'm new. I'm just kind of like, I shouldn't have said that. I'm new. I'm just like figuring out like what kind of bars are cool in the area. I just want to get something to drink. Like, I'm new to that. And so the bartender was just telling me like, oh, if you're new, check in your bag with him and go down this door. I was like, what? And they're like, don't worry, sweetie. Like, I'll check your bag in. Give me your bag. And I was just like, I'm feeling too trusty right now. Here you go. Just me being just...
You had your backpack.
Just in my backpack. Just, here you go. And I go downstairs, and I'm like, this is cool. It's dark. I look to my left, because, you go down, and there's two different open areas. One's super pitch black, and the other one's kind of dimly lit with lights, and there's, a dance floor. There's a DJ. There's another bar. Super cute. And I go down, I'm like, oh, this is cute. This is, why does he want me to come down here? This is so cool. And I turn to the right. Everyone's fucking. It's just a big sex house sort of situation. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm seeing...
And it's all guys?
All guys. Mm-hmm. All guys. Normally, the creepy ones. I mean, there's, the creepy ones that just kind of just stand and stare and are very uncomfortable and just, I don't like it. But there's a lot of guys that are coming, up and down the stairs and whatnot, and they're wearing nothing but, maybe a thong or something like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I got to talking with one of the dancers. They were a go-go dancer, and I didn't know what that was. I was like, so what do you do? And they're like, well, we just shake our ass for money. And,
Oh, you're like, I can do that?
I'm in New York. I want to fucking do that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Did you get it?
So I went up to a bartender, and I was like, are you hiring?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we are.
Did they look at your calves?
Yeah. They, checked me up and down, and I was just like, yeah. So I got hired for a trial run. It was just one day, and I go down. I didn't really have much gear. I just had some skimpy underwear, and that's it. And tried it. It was fun. A lot of older men come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're cute." They'll send me money, and I made good money. It was very nice. I got to walk around, got free shots. It was very a nice environment.
Yeah.
But obviously, in those scenarios and that environment, it can get sketchy very fast. So obviously, we have security. So if there's anything going wrong, we have lights and we flash it. And
did you have to do that?
Never. No.
Oh, okay.
Everyone was super nice, and I'm very good at telling people to fuck off very politely. So there was a lot of opportunities where they were like, "Hey, we want to take you home." And I'm like, "Nope, you can keep walking." And I'm like, okay, trying hard to get and I was like, "No, seriously, fuck off." I don't want you. So learned that very quick, and
made some cash.
Yeah, made some good cash. For what it was, for 4 hours. Walking out with some cash under the table, kind of.
Yeah, for sure.
It was very nice.
Yeah. Then you came back to Cali.
Yeah, so it didn't work out financially. Just
but in the process, when did you meet your new man?
I met my new man. We were aware of each other for 2 years. So online, I do OnlyFans. So.
Oh, you do?
Yes, yeah. So I do OnlyFans, and
do you make some money?
I do, yeah. It's not enough where it's super substantial where I can make just a living off of it and rely on it. But it's enough where I'm
curious about that.
I'm just oh yeah, I can make some money from here and there, and it's super nice. And
okay, so people subscribe to you.
Well, depending. So the way my platform works is, it's kind of I have an OnlyFans profile. You can access it for free, and there's specific posts that I charge for. So I say premium content costs between $5 to $8. It's never something super extravagant, because I think that lowering the price brings in more customers, and the more people that buy it, the more income that I can
Now, are
make.
you naked?
Oh yeah, I'm fucking, doing all that stuff.
Can they screenshot it?
No. So OnlyFans has a
What's your
privacy...
OnlyFans name if you want to give it out to people?
No, I don't. I can't. I mean, if you know, you know. If you know, you know.
You might get more customers.
I just don't know. It's a if you know, you know sort of thing.
Hey, it's only if you wanted to. You totally don't have to. I finally see you turning a little red.
No, for real, I'm just but it's if you know, you know.
Okay, can people screenshot?
No, so OnlyFans has an amazing thing, kind of like Grindr. Grindr and OnlyFans kind of have something similar. So on Grindr, if someone were to send you pictures and you screenshot, it prompts with a picture saying, you can't do that, and it's a privacy. I don't know how they do it.
Does it delete it? Does it not allow
it just kind of censors everything. It pops up with stickers, and it's just kind of blurring out the entire thing, so you can't keep it for yourself.
Yeah.
Same thing with OnlyFans. They won't, if you screenshot, sure you can, but it's going to pop up with, you can't screenshot this for privacy reasons, da-da-da-da-da. And so there's a lot of privacy behind it, which I love, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, so then you don't promote your page.
I do on a Twitter. That's kind of right.
I'm sure you're true.
Nope. If you know, you know. If you know, you know, but it's not something super, public, because it's not something that... don't know. I don't want to be known for the person that like shows his dick on fucking the internet and whatnot. You know, it's like
I mean, you can make more money, but it's really fine. It's okay. Okay,
maybe in the future.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay, so on OnlyFans, and that's how you met your current.
No, well, on Twitter. So the
Okay.
way I was promoting it, just kind of posting and searching for other creators and stuff, and I met him, and I liked his page, and I was like, hey, your content's really hot, like, good shit, just something casual, and, you know, he did the same thing. He's like, you're fucking hot too, good shit, cool. And so we were aware of each other for about 2 years, and then I came back from New York, and then, you know, settled in with Matt, my roommate now, and I just got out of a relationship in New York. It just wasn't really working, just because of moving around a lot, financial issues, mental health issues. It was not a good time. So I had to break it off, and I moved back to California. And I think he posted something on Twitter, and he was just like, hey, I'm opening up boyfriend applications, haha, something like funny and light. And then I send the like eyes to the side emoji, like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I sent him a DM, and I was just like, hey, I think you're hot. Like, I wanted to get to know you and stuff. And he was just like, hell yeah. And so eventually there was a convention that I was going to, a furry convention, and I was just like, hey, I'm going to be around here. I know that you're going. Let's meet up for coffee. I'd love to meet you. And he was like, hell yeah. And so I fly out there, and I'm staying with a couple of friends.
We're a different state.
Yeah. And I was in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
And I was staying with a couple of friends, and they were also going to the similar con. That's why I was going in the first place. And I meet up with him, and I get to the coffee shop first, and then he comes, and I'm like, oh, he's so small. Like, he's just like a petite guy, and I'm like, oh, he's so cute.
There's a little background behind him, right? Because he transgender?
Yes, I never usually like to kind of say that he is, because I feel like it's not my place to say.
Oh, okay.
It's from something that I've learned within the community, because I'm very not familiar. I'm just uneducated, really.
Yeah.
And something that I learned was it's not really. I don't think it's not really polite to kind of just say like, oh, they're transgender. It's really something that I've learned is like a who gives a fuck kind of thing. I personally don't. Obviously, there's
Did you know getting in?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I like to focus on, because I look more on personality. Obviously, if they're attractive, I'm like, oh, that plays a good factor too as well.
Very much.
And so I didn't really pay no mind to it at all. And like going to the coffee shop, he came in, and I thought he was so cute. And we got coffee. He paid for my coffee, and you know we had a little coffee date. It was very sweet and very cute. And in that moment, I was like, dude, I like this guy a lot. Like, I really like this guy. And so we left. He was going to the convention too, so we spent the whole time at the convention, and just showing me around. And towards the end of the convention, I was like, hey, I like you. Like, we went on a couple dates during the convention. It was like 5 days or something. And we went on a couple dates, and I was like, I like you. Do you want to be a thing? Do you want to date? Do you want to like do this? And he was like, yeah. Like, I like this. Like, this is cool.
So you're doing a long distance?
I like to call it a temporary long distance. I'm moving out there next year, maybe sooner, because there's some roommate drama with the apartment and stuff.
Yours?
Yeah. So, but we'll see. I mean, we haven't really talked in depth about it, so it's not anything that, like, I don't know, that's like set in stone information, really. But I like to call it a semi-permanent, and I make an effort to go on and fly and see him for like a week. And
is he going to come out here?
I don't want him to. I'm just like, you're okay if you don't want to. I don't want you to. Just give him the area. I don't feel as if it's really accepting to be like, hey, this is my boyfriend. Because I do feel that regardless of your sexuality, if you are not thinking a certain way in this county, you're deemed kind of like, oh, this is kind of weird. And I don't like that. I just kind of like, okay, you're doing you, I'm doing me. You're not hurting me, I'm not hurting you. Live your life, have fun. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of judgmental people.
So I was just like, you know what? Save the trip. I have no problem going out to see you at all. Like I like you a lot. And so I go out and visit, and it's always hard to say goodbye because like he's like a really good like emotional outlet, and he's someone that I open up to a lot. And I remember when we were at the convention, because we were aware of each other for 2 years, and we were talking for 5-6 months, and we got together the 19th of August, September, October, November, so almost 3 months.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, yeah, like I like to get to know you, and you're super awesome and super sweet. And during the convention, I like stumbled like one day, like we were sleeping together, and I was like, oh, you're so funny, I love you, like something casual shit. And he was just like, huh? What'd you say? And I was just like, what did I say? What the fuck? And he was just like, repeat yourself. And I was like, oh, I love you.
Oh shit, so you're all in love.
Yeah, and he was just like, no, I feel the same way. I just didn't want to rush anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, me neither. Like,
That's
we're both.
awesome. Good.
Yeah, so we're both like very like, we don't want to rush anything, but we both have these feelings that we've communicated to each other.
And it's hard not to rush it when you live so far away from each other. You want to be closer, so you kind of have to rush it a little bit, you know?
Yeah, but I'm also patient. So you know, if, like, I'm patient, but I'm also eager to get out of this county and be with, like, because I have a lot of friends in Colorado.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm excited to be surrounded by a lot of acceptance and a lot of love and a lot of people to hang out with, like, you know, real good friends and stuff. So I'm very eager, so is he, and, you know, I'm very excited about it. And so.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to let our viewers know about? I mean, you've hit a lot of fucking bases.
Yeah, so
you did
many.
very well.
Yeah.
I love it.
Not really.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, we got it. Well, thank you very much for coming on and telling your story. Hopefully your dad at some point, you know, comes around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays he's slowly, but, you know, it's very stubbornness. It comes down to stubbornness, and I've accepted that if he doesn't get it, that's okay. But it is what it is, and fuck what it was.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, well, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for watching another episode of The Real Life with Lacey.
Don't miss out on a single moment of The Real Life with Lacey. Hit that subscribe button so you'll always be the first to know when a new episode drops. Together, we'll keep uncovering the authenticity of life. Subscribe now and join our vibrant community of real stories and real connections.